All right, folks, so months after the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service disbursed sums under its CARE program for people hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, 35,000 Jamaicans, for different reasons, are yet to collect the money from banks and remittance companies. What could be the cause of this? Well, we've invited the manager of COVID CARE program, Mr. John Thompson, to discuss. Morning, Sir John. Welcome to Smile
Hi,
Jamaica.
good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Before we go there, how are these folks chosen? Do they reach out to you? How did it go?
Well, firstly, of the 450,000 beneficiaries, just the remaining 30,000 plus would not have been in receipt of their funds. And the reasons are varied. In one instance, we have 15,000 uncollected funds from remittance companies, and these funds were returned at the end of August. On the other side, we have another 15,000 beneficiaries who still have invalid bank account information in the system. So in total, we are looking at about 30,000 plus beneficiaries who we are very anxious to have them receive their funds.
And I can understand that, but again, I just wanted to know how are these people, if the word is chosen, how did they be a part of this? Did they reach out to the ministry and says, boy, I'm in some trouble, I need some help? How were they chosen?
I mean, how were they? Well, as you know, the CARE program, when it launched on April 9, persons applied. Okay. Most applications were for the compassionate grant component, of which we received 400,000 applications. It was a very broad-based initiative or intervention by the government. The compassionate grant applications were eligible once they were approved to be not employed officially. General grant applicants would have been occupations registered and operating as like taxi operators, market vendors, tour guides. So they were chosen, once eligibility was established in keeping with the defined rules.
Okay. Sir John, so what do they do now? If they're watching now and says, well, I'm part of the 35,000, what do they do? They reach out to you, or can they come to the ministry and pick it up, or does it have to go through these agencies?
No, so firstly, just to be clear, we are speaking about only persons who have not collected funds. Right. Most persons have, in fact, received their funds. The first thing that I would tell persons to do is go back to the wecare.gov.jm website and track the status of your application. The way you do this is you go to wecare.gov.jm. There's a track link at the top right. You select that, enter your reference number and your TRN, and click track. If you have an invalid bank account details, a message will be displayed. So you will know right away that you are required to go and update your financial information account details. There are other sections of the screen where you can see if in fact you were eligible, and you would know if you have received funds or not. So that is the first channel I would tell persons to go to get an updated status of their application. Secondly, we do in fact have a toll-free number. It is 888-4WE-CARE. That is 888-493-2273. So there are two channels you can use to find out additional details on your application.
All right, just to be clear now, the folks who did not pick up the money, they still can get the money. They're not out of the loop.
We are committed to have all eligible persons who receive their funds. So yes, they can still get their funds.
Okay, another question, is this a one-off thing, or do they get another tranche another time, or this is just a one-off thing?
So this is mostly a one-off thing at this juncture. There are some aspects of the program, the Said Cash and the Best Cash, where eligible beneficiaries would have been receiving a monthly payout of $18,000. In some instances, I think it's just below 900. There are some of those Said Cash beneficiaries who still would not have received their funds from the outset. At this juncture, when they finally have their bank account information validated, they would be getting the 5 months payments. But the other persons who are predominantly beneficiaries under the compassionate grant, This is a one-off payment of $10,000.
Okay. I'm reading here, it said some remittance companies had been reluctant to make payments to third parties. So if for whatever reason I can't go, I can send my son to collect it?
Well, we made an allowance recognizing there were persons 65 and older who would have had difficulties in collecting. Cabinet gave approval for collections to be done by third-party persons. So it only applies if you were 65 and older. I must just point out that at this juncture, we currently do not have a contract with a remittance company for collecting the funds, but we are working to have that in place with a single remittance company. And in respect of the 65 and older, we obviously will try to get that arrangement put back in place.
Yep, and how would it work? Would my son need to carry an ID from me? I have to write a letter and tell them make him collect the thing? How does it work?
It's required a letter signed by a JP, and the son or daughter would have to take, or whoever, the valid identification of the recipient, of the beneficiary.
Okay. How do you feel about this? You think this will be fixed in quick time and these people will get their money?
Yes, we are certainly committed to have persons receive their funds because, as you know, the calls do come in by the hundreds. It will take a couple of weeks, but we want to try and have every person in receipt of their funds by at least the next 4 weeks. As I said, importantly, go to the website to check your status because some persons may not have been aware that they were eligible in the first place because, in many instances, applications were done by third-party persons. Right. So the best thing is really to find out what's the status of your application. And importantly, if you prefer to receive your funds through your banking, your established bank account, please go on and update your bank account particulars, and we will try and validate it and make payments thereafter.
All right, Sir John, thanks very much for speaking with us. Please stay safe yourself and your family.
Thanks very much.
John Thompson, manager of the COVID Care Program. Still to come, folks, the benefits of having a pet. But first, here's a second edition of News in 5.